All right, so we give praise, esteem, and honor to the Most High Yah in the name of Yahushua HaMashiach this day. Because John chapter 5 and verse 39. Search the scripture, you think you have eternal life. Shalom, man. And they are they which testify of me. And you will not come to me that you might have life. I receive not honor from men, but I know you, that you have not the love of Elohim in you. I come in my Abba's name, you receive me not. Another shall come in his own name, him you will receive. How can you believe which receive honor one from another and seek not the honor that come from Elohim only? Do not think that I will accuse you, Abba. There's one that accused you, even Moses, of whom you trust. So had you believed Moses, you would have believed me, for he wrote of me. But if you believe not his writings, how shall you believe my words? Proverbs 11 and 30. Give me a second. Proverbs 11 and 30. The fruit of the righteous is a tree of life. He that wins souls is wise. So that's what we're dealing with. But y'all know what today is. We're honoring the Feast of Tabernacles and gathering in booths. We kind of talk about the fruit of the righteous is a tree of life. So what we want to do is we want to swing over here to Proverbs chapter 12. What verse it is that I was looking at. And we want 12 and 12. Proverbs 12 and 12. So it says, the wicked desire the net of evil men, but the root of the righteous yield fruit. Now we've already discussed that the fruit of the righteous is as a tree of life. So the first thing we'll look at hold on. So let's look at this first word, and it's desire. The word is kamad. And that word is to desire, to covet, to take pleasure in, and to delight greatly. So the next word behind that is net, and it's masod, and that means a stronghold. So while you're thinking upon that, I'll give you the characters in a moment. But I want you to come look at 2 Corinthians chapter 10 and verse 4. Maybe about verse 2. And we'll come right back. Because at the end of the day, it says that wicked men take pleasure in strongholds. How many of y'all are familiar with having conversations about strongholds? As far as y'all understanding, what is a stronghold? Y'all can answer on there if you wish. You could look at that in that aspect. Does anybody else have any previous understanding on strongholds? That as well. So you could look at it as that as well. And that as well. Y'all saying it's different words to say the same thing. You know what I'm saying? But a stronghold is something that has you bound. Matter of fact, Mashal made a statement in the book of Matthew that he said before the strong man could come, before the person could come in and spoil a house, they got to do what? Tie the strong man up. So a stronghold is something that has you bound to a particular thing. So he's telling you that wicked men desire their lusts and they take pleasure and delight in them. See, pause. Before I read 2 Corinthians chapter 10, go to Romans chapter 1. This will give you a good example of it. Romans 1:28. Romans 1:28. Even as they did not like to retain Elohim in their knowledge, Elohim gave them over to a reprobate mind to do those things which are not convenient. So when you look at these matters of what he's about to list, these are things that can be considered to be a stronghold. And these are things that wicked men desire. And remember, the key point is they take pleasure in them. It says being filled with all unrighteousness, fornication, wickedness, covetousness, maliciousness, full of envy, murder, debate, deceit, malignity, whispers. Remember, a whisperer is a slanderer. So you have some people that take delight in slandering. You have people, y'all already know, y'all know plenty of people who take delight in fornicating and just being wicked. You know what I'm saying? Some of y'all at one time might have delighted in fornicating. You delighted in fornicating, you look like you did. Young, little fast heifer. Go sit around there with your man, with your mom. It's good to see you too, Mordecai, but I need you to go sit with your mother. Huh? How many of y'all used to delight in telling lies? You still look like you like to fart and tell lies. You like to fart and tell lies? You like to tell lies, little Mike? I will hope not. Your mother looked at it and said, now you just told one just then. You should see how fast she looked up. Now you tell a lie, nigga. Talking about you don't delight to tell lies. You be lying to your mama. You do? You don't? You don't? You don't want to, but you do. Why do you lie to your mama?
I quit.
You quit it?
I quit.
You quit to lie?
Yes.
Well, thank the Lord. He quit lying to you? You'll see? Oh, so you said that like that's been a short period of time. We appreciate your honesty, young man. What, when you did used to lie to your mama, did you lie because you want to get in trouble? You didn't want to lie anymore, so you started telling the truth? That's the just thing to do, young man. That's the just thing to do. He say backbiters, haters of Elohim. Now look at the key thing, right? Hating Elohim. You know, I seen a dude today in the sports group, right? You know, everybody's up in arms with this white woman. I genuinely didn't care. Didn't follow the case long enough to care. You know what I'm saying? And I was telling my homeboy when we were riding, because we were talking about it, we were coming from the house that we were working on. You know, how many of y'all seen them people post that meme that the white woman got 10 years for killing a black man, but a black boy got 45 years for killing a dog? Now, what do y'all understand? If you have a large amount of understanding, then you know what's actually being conveyed when you post a picture. Oh, black man get 45 years for this, but the white woman get 10 years for killing black people. Do you know what a nigga's really telling you? No, that ain't what they telling you. They think that's what they see on the surface. That's what you're gonna take, but they telling you way more than that. What you think they telling you, sir? Now the nigga put up a meme. On the left side, you got the white woman. You know what I'm saying? Unjust balance. You get on the surface, you think that's what they telling you, but that's not really what they trying to tell you. You know what I'm saying? They say white woman kills a black man, get 10 years. This side, black man kills a police dog, get 45 years. But what is they really telling you though? They really want to tell you is why doesn't this white person value my life as much as theirs or an animal? What they really telling you is I really want their acceptance and their validation. Why won't you love me and see me as your equal? That's why these niggas mad. Because in the history of being in America, when has these people ever cared? This is what I told my homeboy, right? And if you agree, you can say it. If you don't, that's okay too. Share your perspective. But then what I told him. Now y'all know, right? Do black folks have gangs? Do black folks have gangs? Gangs. Crips, Bloods, things of that nature. Do white people have gangs? Do you know any white people gangs? What they're called? No, I'm talking about like street gangs. You got the Hells Angels. You got stuff like that. What about the KKK? That's not a gang. No, when I'm talking about gangs, I'm talking about people who are actively participating in criminal activity. They're not actively participating in criminal activity. They do criminal things, but they're not a criminal organization. You know what I'm saying? Do you know that Asian people have gangs? You aware of that? Russian people got gangs. Irish people got gangs. Do you know the difference between all those people's gangs and our gangs? Do you know the difference? What's the difference? No, that's not a difference at all. Have you ever seen Aryan Brotherhood? Yes, that's definitely a gang. Aryan Brotherhood is definitely a gang. Prison gang more so, but they are on the street. More organized. What you see with their difference is you won't see a Hell's Angel promote their gang for the purpose of monetizing and promoting that to you. See, they don't do that. Asian gangs don't do that. They're not going to come up and make music or make movies promoting what they're doing and promoting that to their youth. Say, model yourself after this. If they raise up a jit in an Asian gang, it's because that's direct interaction. You know what I'm saying? I'm in the gang. It's a family thing. You're going to be in it. The reason why I say that is because, see, black people want white people to validate them and see them as equals, but you don't respect yourself. So because you don't respect yourself, I gave it to him like this here, right? In the most simplest terms. If you know there's a woman in your neighborhood, she done slept, it's 15 blocks in your neighborhood, and she done slept with 4 niggas on each block in 1 month. Will you look at her as a valuable commodity, due your respect? Absolutely not. If you conduct yourself in a manner that is not respectful, you cannot expect other people to respect you. Does that mean that white people carry themselves in a respectable fashion? Absolutely not. It doesn't mean that these people do that, because they definitely don't. But what I'm saying is that, of course, but for a reason, I didn't need to see that, sir. For a reason, that they promote our disrespect and dishonor more, but you don't respect yourself. And see, when somebody sees that you don't respect yourself, and then you constantly chase their validation, they will never give it to you. How many of y'all have found yourself chasing the respect and the validation of another human being? And were you ever able to achieve the validation and respect that you wanted from them when you chased it? And that's what black people do. You want the respect and validation from Caucasians, and they're never going to give it to you because you're chasing it. So they already know that you're not worthy of their validation and respect, because if you did, you would not be chasing them. You would be spending the time to show forth your value. You would spend time to show forth your honor, and then they would have no choice but to come to you and respect you. You know what I'm saying? All y'all know somebody who was chasing after old bald-headed hoe, and that hoe don't want to fool with you. Every woman in this room know if a man chase after her, she don't want him. She looks at him as less than a man. You know what I'm saying? That doesn't bring the attraction level up. It brings it down. You know what I'm saying? So when you always saying, white man love me, why isn't my life valuable? Well, look how you act, nigga. That's why you're not valuable to me, because you're begging me for my acceptance. That doesn't make it right, but that's the reality. You have to understand human nature. You have to be more focused on building yourself up and not being concerned with their validation and they respect, because if you do that, then they'll come and respect you off the top. That's why these niggas is in an uproar, because they really want Mr. Charlie to come give him a hug and a kiss and say, you the same as me. I see you as my equal. Come, my child. See, a lot of them niggas who was mad because that judge was hugging that woman is because they wanted a white person to come hug them and tell them you're worthy. Because usually when you're chasing the validation of someone, you want them to hug you and say, you're worthy. You're good enough. But they'll never see you in that fashion. And y'all know ain't lying. Because some of y'all, you was in high school, you had somebody chasing behind you. You ain't like him, did you? You had somebody chasing behind you in your time? What about you? I hope none of you young men wasn't chasing after nobody because you probably didn't catch them. One thing about it, when a woman running, that ain't somebody you gonna catch. You ain't gonna be able to catch her. Can't chase them. But that is just being serious, right? Because I didn't keep up with that trial. I didn't even know niggas was mad till I logged on by 10:30 and just seen niggas in an uproar. How she get 10 years? Then they mad because the boy forgave the lady. What that got to do with you? Maybe he did that for himself. I don't care. I seen a nigga say, boy, if that would have been me, I'd have jumped up my casket and slapped him. And that's your business if that's how you feel. You know what I'm saying? I can't tell somebody why they forgave somebody or not because it doesn't affect me, so I'm unconcerned. You know what I'm saying? But I will say this here. Most people forgive people for their own mind. You know what I'm saying? Now, whether he did that or not, maybe not. Maybe he just loved white people and he wanted to do that. I don't know. I'm not in his brain. I didn't have a conversation with him. That too, because the script tell you, the law tell you to not bear a grudge, of course, specifically against the neighbor of your people. Now, the book also tell you if somebody seeks forgiveness from you that you ought to forgive them. Most people forgive before the forgiveness is sought, but it's better for you to let that go so it doesn't destroy you. Because holding stuff is not hurting the person you're mad at. It's hurting you. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, I could be like, oh, you killed my brother. I can say, you know what? I forgive you. I don't fool with you, though, because you killed my people now. You know what I'm saying? Don't think I'm finna be giving high fives and Oreo cookies out. Because I don't fool with you. But you know what I'm saying? But I'm not finna let that, that's just as like, because guess what? You know what the book say? You say you seek judgment from a people who can't save you. And that's what our problem is. But see, I mentioned that because in the sports group, a dude said he just doing what the Bible said. And that dude said, F the Bible and everything it teaches. That's what somebody else said. Because that's how they feel about Yahuwah. Because when he say F what it teach, he just said that to the person who got wisdom, understanding, and counsel. That's a hard pill to swallow right there, man. You know something right this here, right? You know how people used to say black people are the most spiritual people on the earth? I don't tend to believe that anymore. Because there's some very people devoid of all manner of breath of you. Like, our people are some very either, agnostic or atheist people in this day and time, in this dispensation of time. These niggas have a real despising of when he say haters of Elohim, you see more and more black people desire people who take pleasure in hating Yahuwah. You see that more. Maybe in the 50s and 60s you ain't see that. Shoot, I ain't see that in the 80s and 90s. But you talking about from about 2010 on back, what's a lot of black people hate Yahuwah, boy, with every ounce of their soul. With every ounce of their soul. Like, that was just not a normal thing to hear black people say, I don't believe in nothing. Or I don't mess with that Bible. F that. That's how they feel. And that's how they feel from the heart. See, Yahuwah revealed in the hearts of men. And guess what? Keep standing on that word and you're going to be surprised how many black people want to see you dead. I never thought I'd get to that day where I would see that. Even like, people don't fool with this book. And I ain't going to say this book. People don't fool with Elohim. And you know why they don't fool with Elohim? Because they feel like, why this white woman alive and why we steady getting killed. But as I told my homeboy, them center problems. Now, I want to know, how in the world can you get into a home that's not yours? That's how I want to know. How did that occur? How did that happen? But that's neither here nor there. And then I didn't even know in Texas the jury can give you time. Because the judge didn't give her 10 years. The jury did. So these niggas mad at the wrong people. The people who convicted her gave her 10 years. The judge didn't give her 10 years. But see, that's one thing about black people. They have selective rage. And they hear what they want to hear and they see what they want to see. Because that judge didn't give her 10 years. And then I tell my homeboy, he was like, well, why was she hugging? I said, because she probably was a feminist. And when it comes with black women, feminism become before a black man. Black feminists hate black men first. Feminists hate all men, but the black men is the first on the list. You know what I'm saying? Don't nobody love the black man on this earth. But that's another story for another day. Verse 31, he said, without understanding, covenant breakers, without natural affliction, and unmerciful, who knowing the judgment of Elohim. Oh, Kira just said she seen her cousin post he made $100,000 and said, and no thanks to your Lord and Savior. That nigga's an atheist. So a lot of black people atheists now. They don't believe. You know why black people don't believe? Because they feel like he ain't did nothing for us. But the reason why he ain't doing nothing for you because you're wicked. Unmerciful. Who knowing the judgment of Elohim, that they which commit such things are worthy of death. Not only do the same, but have pleasure in them that do them. See, so that goes back to what it says, the wicked desire the net of evil men. These people have a desire of people who love evil. See, let's take a look at something, right? I know I mentioned 2 Corinthians 10. Before we go around, I think it's John chapter 12. This is why a lot of people atheists and hate you and things of this nature. This is why a lot of them like this. John chapter 12, verse 37. And y'all just gonna let him cry?
No, him and Lil Baby going at it.
So y'all gonna let him fight?
I mean,
it's not the time for that. Those shenanigans.
It ain't time. They got
John 12 and 37. I mean, well, people been witches for a long time. It's just now they're in the open with it. See, we live in a different time. If we would have been back to about 1997, maybe even 2003, no black people would have came out openly and said they're a witch. You know what I'm saying? But now they come out openly with it, and they have no problem stating that they're a witch. The same way they talk about black women going back to the ancient practice of burning sage. Just get evil spirits away. Shoot, then why you ain't got out the household? Because you should have been the first one to get out the house. Soon as you lit it. But niggas really believe that. You walk in the house, this nigga burning sage, see, he got the evil spirit away. Now I might have got a righteous spirit away. Nobody want to be around your wicked self. You probably got demons all in the house. It's definitely got demons all in you. When I say demons, not unclean spirits, but unclean doctrines, thoughts, and ways and actions. But yeah, I mean, that's acceptable now to be a witch. Look at all these niggas talking about Mercury retrograde. Nigga can't spell retrograde. Nigga didn't even know what retrograde was 2 years ago. Now niggas talking about they new moon in it and all this nonsense. You's a fool. Niggas follow behind. And you know why they follow behind anything? Because Yahuwah has a standard. He has a standard. And when it comes to that standard, most people don't want to uphold it because it restricts their behavior. And they know if I come over here with Mercury retrograde, I can be a hoe. And niggas will entertain me and allow me to do what I want to do. And, you know, there's no restrictions. And that's what people want. People don't want their behaviors restricted. 12 and 37, he said, but though he had done so many miracles before them, yet they believed not on him. That the saying of Isaiah the prophet might be fulfilled, which he spake, Yahuwah, who have believed our report, and to whom the arm of Yahuwah been revealed. See, that's the key thing what you don't realize. People haven't believed the good tidings. And that when that right arm, remember when we were dealing with the Pere, the Pei, the Rosh, and the Yod, you know, Yahusha. I mean, people been Masons and people been serving other gods. It's just now it's acceptable to do it in the open. You know what I'm saying? 15, 20 years ago, they didn't do it in the open. Now you can do it with social media that allowed people to proliferate a plethora of different information and do things openly. Therefore, they could not believe because that Isaiah said again, he had blinded their eyes and hardened their heart, that they should not see with their eyes nor understand with their heart and be converted, and I should heal them. These things said Isaiah when he saw his esteem and spake of him. Nevertheless, among the chief rulers also many believed on him, but because of the Pharisees, they did not confess him lest they should be put out of the synagogue, for they love the praise of men more than the praise of Elohim. And that's what you see. That's why people desire the net of wicked men or the strongholds of wicked men, because they desire the praise of men. So you can't be a servant of Yahuwah and desiring the praise of men, because that's going to destroy you and cause you to fall. Let's get to 2 Corinthians chapter 10. 10:1 I surmise. He said, "Now I, Paul, myself beseech you by the meekness and gentleness of a Mashal, who in presence am base among you, but being absent and bold toward you. I beseech you that I may not be bold when I am present with that confidence, wherewith I think to be bold against some, which think of us as if we walked according to the flesh. For though we walk in the flesh, we do not war after the flesh." And see, that's the thing that a lot of our people want. See, they want to war. See, what our people want is the same thing that the apostles asked. Notice I say not what the apostles wanted, but what the apostles asked. At this time, will you restore the kingdom back to Yasharal? Because they want Yahuwah to come through and crash and smash. But since he ain't coming through, people getting upset because they wondering what's taking them so long. But y'all remember what Yahushua told you in that regard, right? That men are always to pray and not to faint, that he will avenge you speedily. But a lot of people don't have no trust that he's going to do that. So when we look at tabernacles, you look at dwelling in the booth. Something that we've talked about in years previous, and you talking about dwelling in an eternal booth. A booth that's made in heaven. What did Yahushua tell you? In his Father's house, there's many mansions, and he's going to prepare a place for you. There is a mansion or a booth or a tabernacle prepared for every soul, which is reserved unto salvation. And you patiently wait for the receiving of that tabernacle to be quickened by it. Nevertheless, he said, "For the weapons of our warfare are not carnal, but mighty through Elohim to the pulling down of strongholds." So when you look at pulling down a stronghold, let me ask y'all a question. According to the text, what would need to be done to pull down a stronghold? According to the word of Elohim, what would need to be done to pull down a stronghold? Anybody on the stream can answer that if you so choose. But according to the word of Elohim, what would need to be done to pull down a stronghold? Die to your flesh. Does anyone else have a retort for this? I'll give you a moment in time. Well, who that is? Isn't that making all that noise? That's Lil Dale. Lil Dale ain't feeling okay, is it? What y'all done did? Kelly, what you did to Lil Dale? Well, she went back there with him. Yeah, she tied around there with them nigga people. That's why he feeling out there. She had him around there hanging out on Mon Creek. Now he don't know how to act. I mean, what according to the text, what needs to be done to pull down a stronghold? Anybody on the stream got an answer for that? I mentioned it last night too. What is the largest stronghold that has man bound? Indeed. According to the text, what is needed to be done to pull down a stronghold? Love, power, and of a strong mind. So, and what is the byproduct of sin is death. So you already stated it, it's dying to the flesh. But disbelief. So what pulled down the stronghold? Yahushua pulled down the stronghold by what I mentioned the other day. I mentioned it last night, but we didn't read it. Come to Romans chapter 8. 8:1 to be specific. Well, little Stanley is not pleased. 8:1. What you did to that boy? Mm-hmm. Got that nigga on him. That's why he acting. Look around there with them niggas. You ain't right. Took him around there. He smelled it. He done breathed it in. Now he trying to shake it off. He said he need healing. He said, cast out that nigga spirit. That's how he feeling. Around here carousing around the neighborhood. Look what you got him. Yeah, I'm gonna mess with you for the rest of the day. I ain't gonna mess with you tomorrow. The moment will have passed. But today, though, I have jokes that only will amuse me. They may not amuse anyone else. As long as I'm amused, I'm okay. Romans 8:1. He said, there is therefore now no condemnation to them which are in Mashiach Yahusha, who walk not after the flesh, but after the Ruach. For the Torah of Ruach of life and Yahusha HaMashiach have made me free from the Torah of sin and death. For what Torah could not do, in that it was weak through the flesh, Elohim sending his own son in the likeness of sinful flesh, and for sin, condemned sin in the flesh. So in order to pull down this stronghold, you have to, what we read in Luke chapter 9, you have to take up your stake and follow him. And you have to be willing to die even as he died. Because this is why wicked men desire the net of other men. Well, the wicked desire the net of evil men. I'm probably saying it wrong. The wicked desire the net of evil men. So other wicked people take pleasure in the strongholds of other wicked people. You know what I'm saying? And y'all know this here, right? I seen the little, what you call it, billboard. And you know what a billboard say? He said, we love all our lesbian and queer children. And what is the point of that? Because these are wicked people who desire the net or the strongholds of evil people. You know what I'm saying? I take delight. That's all that verse is really saying, that they take delight and pleasure in other people who are evil. You know what I'm saying? So when you sit, this is one of the reasons why he tell you to get that evil from amongst you, or not to associate with certain individuals. This is why David in Psalms 101 said that I will not know a wicked person, because I don't take delight in what you got going on. You know what I'm saying? This is why he says you have a reprobate mind, that you know these people over here doing it. He said not only do you delight, that they delight in doing it, but you take pleasure in being with them. So then Yahuwah look at you like, oh, so you with it too. See, we have it in our mind, I ain't doing it, but he looking at, but you take pleasure in this nigga though. That's why I read that Romans 1. I'll read that last part again. He say, who knowing the judgment of Elohim, they which commit such things are worthy of death, not only do the same, but have pleasure in them that do them. So that is exactly what's in Proverbs. Not only do they do it, but then you love the people who do it as well. See, hold on, Paul. See, let's look at here in Malachi chapter 3 real quick. We do it. We finish with Romans 8. Chapter 3. Chapter 3 and verse 13. So I just want you to get an understanding, like, when you sit back and you look at it, right, Jeremiah, in the book of Jeremiah, he said, I got to get away from these people. He said, they adulterous people. Everybody neigh after his neighbor's wife. They slander. They do this here. He said, I want to go out in the wilderness and be with wayfaring men. You know what I'm saying? He said, I saw one righteous man to kick it with. I couldn't find nobody. He said, because I can't be around these evil niggas. Because look what they out here doing. You know what I'm saying? Look what they out here doing. You know, of course, the people will put a billboard up and say, we love our queer children, because they're queer. Like, these people actually came at JSO when the dude tied the pump to the minivan. Y'all familiar with that? That just happened. Y'all know what I'm talking about? Yeah, a dude messing with a tranny, beat the tranny up, tied the tranny to a minivan, and drug the tranny through Moncrief. Now, the tranny was this man's old man. So this was really, see, they going to make it to be, like I said, his old man, because he ain't his woman. But the queer police came to JSO and said that you need to refer to him as a woman because he lived as a woman, because they said that he dragged a man. You know what I'm saying? But then they changed it and said this transgender woman. But you had it right the first time. But see, they're going to try to make it a hate crime and this, that, and the third. But he was in a relationship with this man. This was his man. And I guess he caught his man with another man. So he decided to try to kill him. Same way they caught a dude for killing a tranny a year or so ago in Bay Meadows, and they said that he was in a relationship with this man. But see, that's the key thing of what I'm talking about. It's 2019 now, and niggas are not ashamed to be in a relationship with a tranny. Openly. Now, they in the hood. I couldn't imagine 20 years ago somebody in the hood being open with being with a tranny. And not somebody slapping the dog nuts out this nigga or running him from around the hood. Now you can openly be with a punk. You can openly be with a tranny. Nobody cares. That's why everybody was shocked when Malik Yoba said, I like women who were born men. And people was like, oh, what's going on with him? Because these niggas been like this. Y'all already know Eddie Murphy got caught with a tranny back in the day. Y'all know Eddie Murphy got caught with a tranny? And everybody was shocked. But they swept that under the rug because these niggas been fooling with trannies because they been punks. But see, now it's acceptable now. You can be with a tranny. Nobody cares because that's a woman. I didn't even get to read what Kira talking about. A womb transplant? A womb transplant? Where did you get the womb from to transplant it? Word. Niggas, that they taking dead uteruses and putting it in a man. But the thing is, though, is they say they had, from what Kira said, they said they had a successful womb transplant into a woman. But I don't care if you put a womb transplant in a man, sir, you don't have Yahuwah didn't make you this way. This is going to be an epic fail. I hope you die on the table. I hope for some reason the egg fertilize and then Yahuwah make your stomach explode. You know what I'm talking about? And I hope you don't die. I hope you just in pain every day. You know what I'm talking about? So you can look at your mangled vagina that you purchased. Well, they might as well go ahead and get on their city bus and go ahead and drop the fare in. Because I ain't hard to find. You know what I'm talking about? Because I don't care nothing about you. You a man. Same way, when nigga around here want to get a penis, I hope it fall off. You know what I'm saying? I hope your fake nuts go all the way up in your stomach and you choke every time you eat. I said what I said. And I meant what I said. You know what I'm talking about? I ain't got no love for that. That's an abomination. How you cut off your privy parts and try to turn them into a vagina? That thing doesn't lubricate. How you have a menstrual cycle? How you gonna put a womb in it? This nigga can't have a menstrual cycle because you put somebody's uterus in there? The menstrual cycle is designed for the ability to give forth life. Your uterus will not shed itself, sir. I said, sir. Not looking at you calling you ma'am. You're a man. Your name is James, sir. And you know what? But again, that goes back to what the brother was talking about. Is that you can't regenerate ligaments. They can't recreate that. Because that is the beauty of Yah's creation. What does the text say? You're fearfully and wonderfully made, and people take it out of context of what he really talking about. But in reality, Yah made you in a particular fashion. And I don't care how much surgery you get or how you try it, you cannot replicate and duplicate his mastery. They don't have the ability. So what if I take this womb out of this woman and put it in this man? Sir, you can't have a menstrual cycle because you don't have the elements in your body to produce that. You still make testosterone, nigga. I don't care how many hormone pills you take. You still make testosterone. I don't care if you got you a little fake penis woman, you still make estrogen. Because that's how Yahuwah made you. And that's how it's going to be. And we ain't going for it, and we don't stamp it, and we don't care who don't like it. But Malachi 3:13. He said, your words have been stout against me, saith Yahuwah, yet you say, what have we spoken so much against you? You have said it is vain to serve Elohim. And what profit is it that we've kept this ordinance, that we've walked mournfully before Yahuwah of hosts? Is that not how the whole world feel now? What profit? What you getting from serving this God? You ain't got no money out of it. That's the first thing a nigga say, like he a genie. Like you gonna rub his belly 3 times, he gonna give you 3 wishes. He's saying now we call the proud blessed, Yea, they that work wickedness are set up, and yea, they that tempt Elohim are even delivered. That's how they feel out here, right? You can be evil as all outdoors, and you blessed. Punk walk around here talking about he blessed. This nigga done cut off his testicles talking about he blessed. In what universe, nigga? Who has blessed you? Come on back over here to 2 Corinthians 10. But again, to tear down the stronghold, you got to crucify yourself to Mashiach. See, a lot of people get upset because you're like, you can't talk like that. I say what I want to say. You know what I'm talking about? I don't care nothing about no punk. And if you got punks in your family and you love them, that's your business. But he going to hell, he stay like that. You know what I'm talking about? You ain't supposed to stand for that junk. And I ain't with that junk. You got to hate the sin and love the sinner. I hate all wickedness, and I ain't going to know no wicked person. That nigga against my household. See, that's what black people problem is. You upset because like I mentioned with the white folks saying, oh, why they ain't gave that lady 10 years? See, that's your problem. See, you worry about them. That's their stuff. That's their stuff. I don't care nothing about that. You worry about your own household. You ain't got time to be worrying about what other people doing. You worry about what other people doing. I don't care what you're doing. You against you. Who? I'm against you. That's what it is. That's how it's going to be. Ain't that what the book say? I count you as my enemy. I don't fool with you, cuz I'm not stamping that. I don't care if your feelings get hurt. Because that's what's wrong with niggas. You want to spare niggas' feelings. Well, of course they hate you, but I'm not finna keep telling no punk. That nigga already know he's sinning by how he living. I ain't finna keep telling no punk you going to hell. You knew you were going to hell every time you went in there and bit that pillow. That's what you call them, pillow biters, rump rangers, doodle chasers, booty bandits. Well, that's what they call them up the road. They call them booty bandits. Nigga who chase punks, they call them a booty bandit. I call them niggas rump rangers and pillow biters. But that's what they out here doing. But is that what they doing, right or wrong? Shoot, if they having intimate relations, that's what they out there doing. It ain't in my head. It's just adjective that we use to clown homosexuals in the chain gang. At least I did. I used to rank on them niggas hard. This rump ranger nigga right here, man. Them niggas used to get mad. I had a homeboy from Tampa, man. That nigga made me mad. We on the rec field. We talking. Doggone punk walk right up and kiss that nigga in the mouth. I say, my nigga, you could have warned me that you live this way. Because now we cannot be friends. Because if I knew this beforehand, we would have not been friends. I've been smoking cigarettes with you, sir. I am disgusted. Huh? Did I get a bump? Yeah, he was doing something. No. Like this here, like, because now the reason being, because if a lot of sodomites in that environment, if they see you kicking it with somebody who mess with sodomites, then they will assume that you own that too. So I want to know that ahead of time, because I don't want nobody to get it confused. Because now I can't be your friend now. Because I just stood right here and you just kissed a man in my face with no regard, as if I wasn't even standing here, as if I was just cool and was going to accept that. No, I'm not accepting that. I'm walking away from you, sir. Oh, that's normal though. That was at that particular institution. That was normal. It was 1,200 men there, and 75 to 80% of them were active sodomites. It was very normal. It was very normal for a sodomite at that institution to walk up and ask you if you fooled with men, because it was so commonplace. They had no fear of retribution. You know what I'm saying? Because so many dudes were actively involved. And that's an example of what I'm talking about, that if you take pleasure in doing evil, then you're going to desire people who are captured by the same wickedness. That's why people say bird of a feather flock together. Like you hear a woman say, I don't like your friends, but you hang with a bunch of hoes. So I only can have one conclusion, that since you desire and take pleasure in whores, that clearly you're a whore too. Because I don't know any upright women that would constantly congregate with whores. I've never met one. I've never met one. Do y'all know any women who were chaste and not sexually free, hanging with whores on a consistent basis and took pleasure in being with them? Because the only reason why you taking pleasure because y'all whoring together. You looking at here? What you got something you want to tell her? You knew your friends were whores. That's why you got to think about it. She was a whore. Well, I mean, we ain't talking about men because men don't care. We talking about women. It is the same thing, but it's a little different with a man because ain't no man gonna be like, ain't no woman gonna be like, oh, all your friends are whores, because most women feel like nigga gonna cheat on them anyway. And that's just because they have bad experiences and they just put that on every man they come across. But a man know that. Because no man wants to be with a whore. No man wants to marry a whore. You've never heard a woman say, I don't want to marry a whore. It's very rare. I mean, it's very rare for a woman to say, I don't want to marry a man who's sexually experienced. Yeah, now see, we talking about dogs. We talking about somebody who's been, because you could be, see, a lot of women become whores and they ain't cheated on nobody. They just been in what they call a relationship and slept with every man they talk to. And they end up making up for whore. She done had 5 boyfriends in 8 months, and she slept with all of them. She's turned herself into a whore, even though she may have not been just sleeping with random people. You know what I'm saying? Let's sit back and think about it, right? If you 15 years old and you had 2 boyfriends a year and you slept with all of them till you about 20, you've already been with 10 men. You're a whore. Good for you. Thank you for sharing. I mean, I haven't said this in a while, but if you go scripturally, a woman should have never been with no more than 2 men in her life. And that's only if her husband died. If you go according to what the will of Yahuwah is, a woman should have only been with 1 man in her entire life. 2 if her husband died. You know what I'm saying? This society teaches you to be a whore because they say date. Sample it out. See if you like it. Your auntie's a whore.
Oh, you already missed the good part.
No, I was listening.
Multiple. All right.
I don't know what you're talking about.
No, seriously though, because that's what the book, when we were looking at the law about, do not prostitute your daughter to cause her to be a whore, or to make her common to cause the land to fall into whoredom. That's how that happens. You tell her, try it out. How you gonna know if you like it or not? So that's the only thing you concerned with. He give you good sex. He ain't gonna take care of you. He gonna beat the brakes off of you. You know what I'm talking about? He ain't gonna nurture. He ain't gonna lead you. He ain't gonna care about you. He ain't gonna honor you. He ain't gonna do none of that. No, not off your vagina. Off your head. You know what I was talking about, you nasty nigga. Nasty person.
I was thinking it's like both of them.
No, if we already mentioned having sex, it wasn't no sexual connotation. No, ma'am. That's all women care about. Girl, he be doing it to me though. He be making me feel so good, but you complain about him every day. But when he get me in the room, and that shows you also the stupidity of women and why they ought to be moderated from the day they born to the day that they die. You know what I'm talking about? Because you're a woman to sit there and stay with a man who is vile and not even worthy to be called a man because of his penis. You know what I'm saying? You know how stupid you got to be? And then have the audacity to complain. Yeah, you told me she went, but I already told you why that. Because she liked the way he doing whatever he doing to her, and she likes the chaos and confusion. That's why women stay with niggas who ain't about nothing, because the chaos and confusion is exciting for them. Girl, I never know what's going to happen. Maybe he'll slap me. Maybe he won't. It is, because I've been told y'all this. Women say we be consistent, but you's a lie because it's born. You don't want a man to love and care and honor you every day, because that's not exciting for you. You want a nigga to tell you you're stupid so you can have an argument and then have makeup sex and all that stupid stuff these people put on the TV. You know what I'm saying? That's just retarded. But see, that's a stronghold, though. A stronghold of stupidity. Nevertheless, verse 5, though. Casting down this is 2 Corinthians 10 and 5. casting down imaginations and every high thing that exalts itself against the knowledge of Elohim, and bringing into every thought the obedience of Mashiach. So how do we look at being cast down? Let's look at being cast down in terms of taking down the stronghold or pulling down the stronghold by sacrificing yourself by the stake and death of Yahushua. Isaiah 59. So again, we're looking at Proverbs 12, and Proverbs 12 is dealing with the fact that he says wicked men desire the net of evil people. People desire the strongholds of the wicked. They take pleasure in it. So therefore, they can never yield. That's why he say the works of the flesh are manifest, and they are these. And all those who take part of those will not inherit the kingdom of Elohim. I told you this before. I heard Farrakhan say it, and he ain't tell no lie, that black people are the only race of people on the earth that pick their mate from the waist down. You know what I'm saying? I told y'all this before. Marriage is a business arrangement, and people who have a ruling class mentality marry in that fashion. Only in Western culture do they tell you marry for love. But guess what? Them same people who telling you marrying for love, they don't do that. They marry for legacy. Y'all believe marriage is a business arrangement? All the way around the board. That marry for love stuff, that's white people stuff to get you to spend your money and make a fool out yourself. Because I'm talking about if you look at antiquity, that was not all that love story, you know, Romeo and Juliet and all that stupid stuff. That's geared towards women because y'all emotional and y'all will take off in the fantasies of your mind and say, I want to have that for me. And then because dudes want to have sex, then they know that this man is gonna follow behind whatever you want so he can lay with you. And then that destroys subsequent generations over and over and over again. I mean, it's just the truth. Now, it is what it is. You may agree, you may not. It ain't going to change the fact that it's the truth. But that's the reality of it. Because when you look in the text, those people married for a purpose. Well, he fell out like he got shot. And he looking like Trey on Boys in the Hood when Ricky got shot. Isaiah 59 and 8.
Be quiet. Be quiet.
No, seriously though. Because when you sit down and of course, you know, it was different back then because the fathers would have facilitated that arrangement. You know what I'm saying? But when you look at rich people, I don't care what nationality of people they are, they marry with a purpose. You know what I'm saying? They marry with a purpose. You know what I'm saying? And that purpose is to build a particular son. Like, how many of y'all remember like how in Malcolm X, how they did that with Malcolm X, like certain women to him in that film. Now, whether that happened in reality, I don't know, because they could have took artistic liberty. But they was like, the woman got to be a certain height and she got to have a certain character and demeanor, you know what I'm saying, to be with this man. And they ran a couple women past him before, you know, Betty Shabazz was the one to be given to him. Because that matters, because it has to be a compliment because you're working together. You can't put two people who have diametrically opposed values, characters, and personalities together because they're going to constantly butt. They're not going to work well together. And then something is not going to be facilitated. You kind of want people who have similar personalities and characteristics, or characteristics and personalities that may be different, but they complement one another for one common goal. You know, and most people don't get married and have a goal in mind. The goal is, I just want to be married. Especially in this culture, because it seems like a rite of passage for a woman to get married and say, look, a man married me. That means absolutely nothing. Doesn't mean he loves you. Doesn't mean he cares about you. Nevertheless, and what we were going to do today, I can't do that right now because everyone's not present. So try again tomorrow because I need everybody present for that, or it doesn't really work for me. Not going to be able to pull it off. Isaiah 59 and 8. The way of shalom they know not. There's no judgment in their going. So again, when you look at there's no judgment, there's no right or wrong with these people. They have made them crooked paths whosoever go therein shall not know shalom. So look at what he said, right? Now, what did he say in the book of Isaiah about shalom? What did he say the wicked don't get? No peace. So look at what he just told you. When you go through crooked paths, if you walk in that, guess what you will never know? And if you never know shalom, guess what you really never gonna know? You never gonna know Yahusha. Remember what he said in John 14 about the Ruach of truth? The world has not known it, neither can they see it or know it because they walk in crooked paths. See, before we get back to the part of the righteous yielding fruit, we got to spend a little time on the wicked people. Remember, because the reason why I'm doing that is because of one reason. The parable of the wheat and the tares. Who did he say sowed the good seed? The Son of Man. He said, who sowed the evil seed? The wicked one. And he said they grew up together. Now, when you're a tiller of land, what do you do with the weeds? You pluck them up and you burn them. And what do you do with the fruit? You can't, like we mentioned in Malachi chapter 3, he said, give me a tithe so there can be meat in my house. Because guess what Yahusha looking at? That tenth or that tithe is what he's coming to gather up to bring into his storehouse. Because remember, Tabernacles is also known as in gathering, which was a winter festival for the gathering in of the crops that would sustain you until Passover came around. You know what I'm saying? So you have to look at it in the actual agricultural sense of what it was about. So and the reason because that verse in Proverbs starts with that. The wicked desire the net of evil men. So wicked people desire or take pleasure in the strongholds of evil people. Wickedness takes pleasure in evil. So when you take pleasure in evil, you can never know Elohim, and that takes us back to when we're dealing with the fruit or the pere. That's why they not tares. That's why they not fruit or wheat. That's why they tares, because they do not respect Yahusha as the word of Elohim. They don't believe it. So since they don't believe it, they can't produce fruit. See, a lot of people sit down and hear the word. You can sit and hear the word all you want. But he say faith come by hearing. And hearing is Shema. I heard it. I believed it. I'm going to do it. See, you can't bear no fruit if you don't believe. See, you have to actually take actionable steps. That's why you say bring forth fruits meet for repentance. There has to be actionable steps to what you're doing in order to yield the benefit of what it is that you are embarking on. It doesn't even matter if it's the word. Like people want success, but they don't want to put in the work. Well, guess what? When you put in the work, that time period in between is painful. That's why he tell you to run the race with patience. That's why a lot of people fall off because they think it's a sprint, and it's literally a marathon. Because you have to have endurance to finish the race. And because you live in an instance inside a society where people have short attention spans and desire instant gratification, they don't have the ability to wait to bring forth the fruit with patience, like he said. Because he said in Matthew 13 that the good seed, he said the good ground is the ground where the seed fell in and they heard the word, and with patience they kept it or brought forth fruit with patience. You have to have the ability to endure. This is why he constantly tells you to wait. Word. That's why he constantly tells you to wait. And if you don't have the ability to wait, and when I say wait, meaning to endure and let that good work bring forth its fruit, then you're going to perish. See, everybody in a hurry. I don't know what you're in a hurry for. You know what people in a hurry for? To run to the day of death. What you in a hurry to run to death for? You know what I'm saying? To gain eternal life, you got to have some patience. Even the world wasn't made but in 7 days. He could have made the world in 1 day. He's showing you that in order to get rest, you got to have patience. Everything ain't going to come at the snap of a finger. But we don't see it that way. Don't you? You know the cliche. Hallelujah, indeed. You know the cliche. You know, good things come to those that wait. But that's what the script actually manifests. And he told you in Hebrews 11 that some of the people waited didn't even receive the promise. But they waited for it with expectation of receiving it nonetheless. See, when you have the ability to wait, I done told you this before. If you get something from Yahuwah, it will surpass your wildest thoughts of what was actually possible to be attained. But most people don't want to wait. And that's why they end up getting what they get, something that comes from them. When you get something from Yahuwah, it's going to give an increase. Remember, he said the blessing of Yahuwah don't bring no sorrow with it. That's what he said. When have you ever seen anybody Yahuwah blessed and they had sorrow with what they gave? Or what he gave, I should say, excuse me. Where you ever read that at? He blessed somebody and they were sad. Look how many people we see say God blessed them, but what the blessing gave brought them sadness. God blessed me with a husband. That nigga slap her up every night. He blessed me with a wife. She's sleeping with everybody in the neighborhood. You know what I'm talking about? Clearly that wasn't Yahuwah. Why would Yahuwah give you something that would do that? Of course, you know the favorite one. God blessed me with a car that put you in debt. You know what I'm saying? Very few people that you know in the flesh say they got a blessing from Yahuwah, and it was joyful from the day they got it to the day it stopped. Y'all got plenty of blessings in here from Yahuwah. I hope you look at them as being all joy, because if you don't, you got a problem. Dead serious, because he said that the fruit of the womb come from him. And blessed is the man that have a quiver from him. But guess what this world done taught you? That children are a burden. So then when you looking Yahuwah in the face and say, I don't want your blessing, it troubles me. You know what I'm saying? What you mean it trouble you? I saw favor enough to give you one. You know how many people out here childless and trying to have children? Imagine how Rachel felt sitting there watching Leah have all them kids. That's a blessing. And I done told you this once, and I tell you again. If he give you the children, he gonna take care of them. What type of father ain't gonna take care of his household? But you know why you don't believe that? Because your daddy didn't take care of you. So you can't even fathom the thought that somebody will take care of you. You know what I'm saying? Most of us, very few people sitting in this room have the experience of never having a concern about a man taking care of you, because you never had a man take care of you. When you have somebody who you know gonna take care of you, you never worry about nothing. The thought of what we gonna eat and what we gonna do don't never cross your mind. So for you to have the ability to trust another man to do so is an easy transition. If he show forth that what he own, then guess what it'd be easy to do? To take no thought for your life, for your father already know in heaven what you have need of before you ask him. He already know. So you don't have that concern. But see, that goes back to what I was talking about before on allowing women to move freely and pick their mates, and then they pick niggas who have no desire to do those things. So therefore your children grow up without that, and then therefore they have the inability to submit, especially the young women, the inability to submit themselves to a man for him to do it, because in their subconscious, they don't trust that he will. That's why you have so many independent women. I can't depend on no man, because you couldn't depend on your daddy. And you blaming that on these men who come behind. Or you chose undependable men. That's on you, baby. That's on you. Don't pick a man you can't depend on. Don't do that. And we ain't talking about if he hit a rough patch. You know if you can depend on somebody. You know if he gonna come through. You already know if he gonna come through. You know if you say, I need this here, and you know it's in the power of his hand and he gonna do it. You go, when a nigga hits you with all them excuses, when you know, see, there's a difference if you know he can't do it. So if you choose to fool with him, then you have to accept that. You know what I'm talking about? But if you know he can do it and he still don't do it, then you know he don't fool with you. Now, why would you think that Yahuwah, who you know can do it, wouldn't do it? That makes no sense. That makes no sense. You know he can do it, but he wouldn't do it. Verse 9, though. Therefore, judgment is far from us, neither do justice overtake us. We wait for light, but behold obscurity, for brightness, but we walk in darkness. We grope for the wall like the blind. We grope at it as if we had no eyes. We stumble at noonday as in the night, and are in desolate places as dead men. Now, you know that's the dealing with when he made it go dark. But when you talk about we in desolate places like dead men, because without Yahushua, you dead. You're in a destroyed place. That desolate place is the grave. Desolate is a place of destruction. He said, we roar like bears, more sore like doves. We look for judgment, but there is none. For salvation, but it is far from us. For our transgressions are multiplied before you. Our sins testify against us. As for our transgressions are with us, and as for our iniquities, we know them. That's why I always tell people, if you say you don't got the Ruach, and I ask you why you ain't got it, and you say you don't know, you a lie from hell. You know why you ain't got it. And if common sense didn't tell you that, this word just told you that. You know why you ain't got it. People know what they out here doing. They know what they not out here doing. You know what I'm talking about? Period. You can lie to me, but it's one thing to lie to somebody else. It's another thing to lie to yourself. You know what I'm saying? Because you can't lie to Yahuwah. You're just making a fool out of yourself. You know what I'm saying? But why would you lie to yourself? Lying to yourself ain't helping you at all. It's just going to keep you mired in a stronghold that you won't allow that cross to defeat. Remember what we read last night in Galatians. He said, everyone that is a Mashal has crucified the affections and lusts. So you pull those strongholds down by the stake. Don't sit there and lie to yourself. The truth is the truth. Deal with reality and adjust accordingly. There's no sense of, see, that, you know, the main ability to have success in anything in life is the ability to adapt. Everything is not going to go as planned, and everything is not going to go how you've seen it in your head. But the ability to pivot on the fly will give you the ability to survive. That's another thing that women shouldn't have to be able to do that. They shouldn't have to be calling audibles on the fly, because that's what the man is for. That's what the man is for. You know what I'm saying? You don't got to call an audible, because I already seen the corner blitzing off the other side. So you wasn't going to be looking for that. But I seen that. So that's why I slid the protection over that way so the blitz wouldn't come. So you got a hot route with him so you can get rid of the ball quickly and we can continue. Because that's a lot of pressure to put on a woman. That's why you see a lot of women have mental breakdowns, because they're operating in a fashion that they're not supposed to be operating in. You know what I'm saying? You're not supposed to be carrying that load in that fashion. It's one thing for her to be able to do certain things and this, that, there, and the third, but she's not supposed to be carrying the load that the man carries. Because you weren't made for that. That's why he say you're the weaker vessel. Eventually, she will crumble under that pressure. That's why you see so many women in corporate areas. A lot of them be miserable, though. They say they're so successful, got all, but they miserable. Why? Because they're operating like a man's supposed to operate. And they can't handle that type of pressure. They can't handle that type of pressure. They're not supposed to be in administrative positions. They're supposed to be around here nurturing children. That's what happens when you get outside your role. You can look at a lot of them punks and them queers and them lesbians. I bet a lot of them ain't really happy like that because you operating outside your role. That bulldagger go, look at all these bulldaggers who got kids. And they've been dykes for years. Seriously though, been dykes for years. You know what I'm saying? And pop up and have a baby. Why you had a baby? Because your eternal nature. Indeed, your eternal nature is to what? To nurture children and bring up children. Now, sometimes that nurturing gene skip over a woman. I know some of y'all all know some women who that skipped over them. And those women don't need to breed. Because that's one of the biggest things a man really look for if he look to see if to make a woman his wife. Does she have the ability to nurture children? No man wants no woman who don't like children. Not to make his wife. Only a fool will do that. Oh, I hate kids. Nigga, what? But she fine though. And guess what his stupid behind do? Marry her and then be miserable with her. Because now you want to have kids and she don't. She eating birth control pills you don't know. For real, getting abortions you don't know. Now, I don't even know people who were married, but I definitely know chicks who went and got abortions on dudes and they didn't know. And all y'all probably know somebody who told that dude, I need $500 for this here, but it was really to go get an abortion. Whole vagina out here, a graveyard, just polluting. For real, I know a chick done had 9. And she got multiple children. But she done had 9. Because she like it raw. Birth control don't always work. It ain't 100%. Get what? You can take all that birth control. You who would say, I'm going to drop another one in there because I'm going to damn you to hell. See, sometimes what we don't really realize is this, that Yahuwah brings certain things to pass for your damnation. Remember, he said our sins, they testify against us. So he know you're going to go get this abortion. Let me put that woman so I can have another witness against her. You know what I'm saying? But that's because one thing, and y'all all know it, you know, and black people as a whole, but women specifically of every race do not like accountability. You cannot get on TV and talk about the folly of women because you will be attacked brutally and possibly strung up on a tree. You know what I'm saying? You can do that there. Go on the reel and go to talking about, man, you whole stupid. Why would you say that? Did you hear what you just said out your mouth? That makes absolutely no sense. And guess what the people we had in the crowd doing? Nigga, these whole dumb. You know what I'm saying? Were y'all listening? Did you hear her? I've been told you that. Jada Pinkett sitting around there, you sound dumb, ho. And you got your homosexual husband, allegedly, sitting right here egging you on. Yeah, I mean, it's alleged numerous times that he's a homosexual, but I don't have proof that and I don't want him to sue me for libel. So I'm going to say allegedly, but that nigga sweet is all outdoors. That nigga sweet as a Christmas candy cane. Y'all know Will Smith gay. You can see it in him. Any nigga who let a bust him down in the movie in the fashion that he did is a homosexual. What movie? The first movie he ever did. 6 Degrees of Separation. That man let a man put him in the buck in that movie. He played a homosexual in the movie. Yeah, that's the first movie he ever did. He shot that movie while he was still doing Fresh Prince of Bel-Air. Because he said he wanted to show that he wasn't just a comedian. 6 Degrees of Separation. I had never seen the film, but I knew he played a homo. And then when I got out of prison and my homeboy was showing me the videos and the dude showed the clip of the film. You know what I'm saying? And he looked the white dude in his face and he said, I want to F you. The dude was like, what? And then they had a scene where dude was walking down the hallway and he opened the door and that nigga had Will Smith folded up like a pretzel. Beating his back in. Nasty bastard. No, but I'm just saying though, right? No straight man. Oh, hey, Trina said that movie destroyed Fresh. She said I never looked at Will Smith the same after that. I didn't see the film, so. But then of course, look at that scene in Bad Boys. You ever had sex with a man? You want to? Ain't no straight man gonna play like that. And the look in his eyes, it was so serious. You want to? No, I don't want to have sex with a man. Matter of fact, you got to shoot me a fair one, man. Come on, man. Go ahead and throw your set up. Verse 13, though. He's saying transgression and lying against Yahuwah and departing away from our Elohim, speaking oppression, revolt, conceiving and uttering from the heart words of falsehood. And judgment is turned away backwards. Justice stand afar off. Truth is fallen in the street. And equity cannot enter. Notice what he said, that truth is falling in the street because you done tore it down. Put it in the street. So how did they pull down the stronghold? Because they pulled down Yahushua when they put him up there on the stake. They had to pull that. And in order that stronghold to be pulled, he had to be sacrificed. But let's get to the other half of that verse. Let's go back to Proverbs 11 and get to the other half of that verse. You know, I love him though, but I'm dead serious at the same time though. You gotta sit there and look at this stuff. These people evil as the day is long. Now the second half of that verse is that the root of the righteous yield fruit. So we want to look at that. The word for root is sheresh. It means something root, of course, involving firmness or root or bottom as lowest stratum. So when it says root or bottom as lowest stratum, what's the first thing should come to your mind when you hear lowest stratum? You think about Chronicles, but you talking about he say the lowest stratum. Are y'all even familiar with that term? I'm familiar with that term. The lowest stratum. Let's take a look in Ephesians chapter 4. Yeah, sit back and look. Man, this world is evil. You notice that the thing that go on in the earth is that nigga Dwight just dropped that clip in there because I just seen the YouTube thing, and he did, I mean, he letting you know if you hadn't seen, you can see for yourself that it's not a lie, it's not made up. Nah, he just letting you know it's accurate. Shoot, you need to tell Will Smith to pause. He the one agreed to it. That's the crazy part. He agreed to it. Ephesians chapter 4 and verse 6. Yes, mother. You don't want to wait for the chicken. Clearly not. He said, but one Elohim and Abba of all, who is above all and through all and in you all. But every one of us is given grace according to the measure of the gift of a Mashal. Wherefore he say, when he ascended up on high, he led captivity captive and gave gifts unto men. Now he that ascended, what is it? But he also descended first into the lower parts of the earth. So there's your root or your lower stratum, because the lower stratum is to be in the grave or in the ground. When you hear the term lower stratum, you're dealing with something that's in the ground. Now you have for that word Sheresh, Shan, Rosh, and Shan. So you can come up with something right now for that if you will. He that descended is the same, also that ascended up above, far above all things, that he might feel all things. So the fact that he descended is the ability to allow him to ascend to fill you with all things, or to fill you with that fruit that we started talking about last night. So again, Sharash, Shan, Rosh, and Shan. Proceed. Shan, Rosh, and Shan. What could you come up with this? Shan, Rosh, and Shan. You got something for that? Why, you trying to sleep on his kneecap? You trying to rest your neck. That's what you're doing. That's what happens when you hang around niggas. Got to rest your neck because it hurts. Because they so stiff neck, then your neck start hurting. You don't even wonder why. It's like a disease. You got to run away from it. So I got to take my medicine. That's why you're here. So the stiff neck itis don't stay on. I ain't know his neck was that sturdy for your head. It's holding you down. I'm finna fool with you. You already know that. I had that in my head as soon as I seen you this morning. I said, I'm gonna mess with her as soon as I see it. I ain't even tell him when I talked to him. I seen you. Why? I ain't even say nothing. Because I knew he wasn't in that car. I already know when you were around there. I know where you were going at. To the nigga pot. Get you some nigga pie. What you was going around there for. Interesting. What y'all got? Shan, Rosh, and Shan. Does anybody have anything for that? What you got there, Bird? What you got for Shan, Rosh, and Shan, Bird? Anyone going once? To be consumed and paired with the high, going twice? To life? Now I'm gonna tell you what I came for that day. I just used different words. You see, I didn't use consume. I changed it around. The affliction of fire is what will join you to the highest. Because you're being consumed. What will cause you to be consumed? But a little bit of affliction. Now let's take a look at Isaiah 52 on general principles. From Isaiah 52 to Matthew chapter 3. From Matthew chapter 3 to 1 Peter chapter 1. Because this is when I'm dealing with the lower stratum, in order to get to the lower stratum, what has to happen? You need to be afflicted. And what is the affliction for the pulling down of the stronghold? What has already been mentioned, but the stake being impaled on. So that would be your affliction or your fire, if you will. Isaiah 52. It's Isaiah 48. My apologies. Isaiah 48, everybody. That's my error. 48 and 10. Y'all know the verse. I just feel like reading it. Isaiah 48 and 10. And from that, matter of fact, after Isaiah 48 and 10, Jeremiah 9. It says, behold, I have refined you, but not with silver. I have chosen you in the furnace of affliction. Now let's look at something forth with a couple of these words. The first word that I want to look at is affliction. The word for affliction is one. I guess is how you would pronounce it. It is misery or affliction. You have ayin, noon, and yod. So what do you see that? That the right hand knows life, or Yahusha knows life. And what do we read in Romans chapter 8? It says that he put to death sinful flesh in the flesh by sending his son in the likeness of that. So in order for the son to be able to know life, he had to become a man and to be afflicted and die in order for you to have that. Because notice that's why you see that ayin in there and that yod in there, because he's telling you the son knows what life is. This is why he tells you that in order to get to enter into the kingdom of Elohim, you have to do what? Suffer tribulation. Or he says, you know, in the world you'll have tribulation, but in me you shall have shalom. Be of good cheer. Now, when we look at refined, I think we've dealt with this word before, but it's saraf, and it's to refine or to test or to prove. And that's Sod, Rosh, and Pei. So what would you get from that with Sod, Rosh, and Pei? So you know when he's telling you to refine you, he's proving you out. This is why you have to go through the furnace of affliction, because he's proving you out. And y'all know we done said this before. What's the greatest way to see someone's character? Huh? Yeah, through adversity. Adversity will show you the character of a man. If you want to know what a man's about, don't observe him when he is in a time of adversity. And you'll see everything you need to know about that individual. And even in a woman as well, especially even more so for a woman, if this is the woman you think about marrying. But if you want to see how someone is, observe them in adversity and what they do and how they handle it. If you see somebody fold in adversity, then you already know what you need to know. For the most part, the average person, you hear that when they say that in sports all the time. The team has handled adversity. Look how they responded. Because adversity is where your character gets tested. You know what I'm saying? And this is where your character, because remember, your character is what you do. So in the midst of adversity, this is going to show what you're going to do. See, it's easy to do the right things and do certain things when everything is good. When you see when Yahusha was in the midst of affliction or in adversity, what did you see him do? See, we're not talking about, I'm talking about from the time that he got finished praying and say the Son of Man is to be betrayed into the hand of sinners. Let's be going. How did this man conduct himself in that time of adversity? What are the key things that y'all can recall that he did? The first thing you should look at is the level of peace he had in regards with affliction or the adversity that he was getting ready to face. You know what I'm saying? There was no trepidation, and when I say trepidation, there was no fear. See, most people don't like to deal with adversity because of fear. And you know what you're fearing? The fact that you're not in control. You know what I'm talking about? See, human beings like to be in control. And usually when you're dealing with adverse situations, those adverse situations usually arise from situations of which you cannot control. So how you deal with the things that you cannot control will manifest the level of character and mettle that you have. You know what I'm saying? Yahusha ain't had no fear. The reason why I say we know he had no control, what did he pray for? In Matthew 26, what did he pray for? For the cup to pass. So he already knew in the midst of what was coming, he knew affliction was coming. He knew he had what? No control. Because he's asking for the cup to pass. But he say, nevertheless, not my will, your will. So I know the adversity that what you've chosen me for. You're testing me to prove, am I the son of the living Elohim? Will I be obedient to your will unto the end? And I'm telling you, I'm willing to do so. This is why when James and John came to him and they said, can we sit at your right hand? And he said, can you drink from the cup that I drink from? And can you be baptized with the baptism that I'm baptized with? You understand? Can you be able to go through this adversity that I'm about to go through? And you know what their response was, right? You know what their response was? They said, we are able. They had to resign in their mind that I am able to endure any manner of adversity for your name's sake. This is why I say the fruit of the righteous is a tree of life, because that fruit, of course, y'all already know what the statement is. In John, he said, if the seed fall on the ground, it abide alone. But if it what? If it die, it bring forth the fruit. So when you die, you bring forth that Yahushua is the word of Elohim. That's going to be manifested, and that's what's going to pull down the stronghold. That's what's going to pull down anything that has you bound that is contrary to the word, and that's how you bring into captivity anything that's contrary to Mashiach in your mind. Because the brother just hit me with that earlier today. I was telling y'all what he mentioned, but he did the right thing. Even though he had a desire to go contrary, he allowed the word to rein him in. Because this is how a lot of brothers feel. A lot of brothers feel that you should never have thoughts contrary to the word. How many of y'all feel like you should never have thoughts contrary to the word? You feel that way? Thoughts in your mind that are contrary to the word.
Did not say hush.
No, I'm asking, do you feel like you should never have thoughts contrary to the word? And that is the correct answer. Your flesh, your dust and ashes. You will always, why? Because the flesh is contrary to the Ruach, and neither of these things can meet in agreement. So the flesh is always going to be contrary to the word. That's not the issue. The issue is, do you acquiesce or do you resist? Because what did Yahushua tell you to do? To resist or self-denial. Yeah, you can see a woman like, well, she look good, I'll sleep with her. But just because you thought that in your head doesn't mean that you have to go do it. See, there's a desire. See, the problem when he said with lusting is the lusting will lead you to commit adultery in your heart. Because you can see a woman say, I find her physically attractive. I would like to lay with her if possible. Now, that is a negative thought. But you see what he's telling you to cast those things down, because that thought leads to, before anybody in here did anything, they had no business. They had to do what first? You had to think about it. Now, because you had that thought, then you're going to have to do what? Act on it. See, if you allow the thought to remain, then guess what you're going to eventually do? Act on it. But if you cast the thought down by the stake of Mashiach, which is the pulling down of the sin and the stronghold, then guess what you don't do? You don't act on it. You know what I'm saying? You could be like, boy, I slap the takes out this nigga. You know what I'm saying? But you sit back and you think that's not of the Lord. You pull that stronghold down because you flesh. Yahushua told you in Luke 17:1 that offenses must come. So people are going to offend you. Things are going to happen. But it's not about what happens. It's your response. Because you're not responsible for what anybody else does. But you are responsible for how you react to it. You know what I'm saying? You're not, because you can't control that. You can't control what anybody else does. If a nigga walk up to you and say, F you and your mama, the first thing you're supposed to click in, this nigga don't even know my mama. So why would I even let this nigga offend me about him saying something for the explicit purpose that he's trying to get a rise out of me? I know what you're doing. So why would I even yield myself over to you when I know what you're doing? But you know, the average person, nigga, don't talk about my mama. But in reality, this nigga don't even know mama. You don't say your mother's a whore. She might be. How about you tell her that? When you respond in that fashion, that throw niggas off. This is the same token that every man in here know that niggas say certain things to get a reaction out of man for a fight if he want to fight. So we supposed to be the children of wisdom, right? You know, you say wisdom is justified of all her children. Wisdom is skill. So you're supposed to have enough skill to know when you're dealing with a dummy. And when you're dealing with a dummy, then you deal with him accordingly. And the reason why I mention that is because they came out with Yahushua with what? Swords and staves. And what he told Peter to do when Peter, he said, no, chill out. Because when he got tested and proved, because he said, I can ask my Father for 12 legions of angels right now. He said, but how the scripture going to be fulfilled? It's not about the fact that I can smash these niggas, because I know I can smash them. But I'm being tested to prove, will I maintain to stick to the word, or will I yield over to what my desire is? Because the desire of evil men would have been to do what? But who's an example of a prophet that was told something but went against what he was told based off what somebody else told him? And King, what was that prophet told to do? Does anybody recall what that prophet was told to do?
Don't eat the bread.
Say, don't eat no bread in this place. Don't drink no water in this place. And don't leave the way that you came. And another man came into him and said, I'm a prophet. Eat bread at my house. Now, he was being tested right then. And he failed. Because what he's supposed to did is, my father told me, don't eat no bread in this place. Don't drink no water in this place. I need to go. So I'm going to go. And I'm out. You know what I'm saying? Yahushua's father told him what? Son, you got to die today. So it don't matter what Peter talking about. It don't matter if he pulled the sword out. What he told him when he pulled that sword out, put it up. And then when the people went to testing him and talking to him, what did he do? Didn't say a word. Because in the midst of that adversity, he was proved that he was faithful and that he was the amen and that he was the beginning of the creation of Elohim because he stayed steadfast to the word to the end. And that's how the righteous are fruit. The fruit of the righteous is as a tree of life because he showed forth the word. He held the word until the end. You got to hold it to the end, no matter what is going on around you, no matter what anybody's saying. I don't care if it's your mama, your daddy, your children, your spouse, a random nigga in the street. You got to maintain what your father told you to do. Now, that was Sod, Rosh, and Pay. What y'all come up with that? That should be an easy one. Sod, Rosh, and Pay, that should be an easy one. You got that Sod, you got the way, right? You got that Rosh, you got the highest. You got that Pay, you got the way of the words of the highest. And that's Yahushua, because he's the word. So Yahushua is the way of the highest. So when you look at that affliction to be in test and proved, if you want to be proved to be just, you got to be that, you have to know that Yahushua is the, and what did he say? No man can come to the Father, what? But by me. So it validates the fact that he is the word and you have to be in him and him in you in order for you to be able to get your tabernacle from heaven. Because you know, some years we know we'll deal with it and have a theme according to the feast, but some years we don't because that's so cliche and that's unnecessary. You know what I'm saying? Just because it's tabernacles don't mean we got to go on Leviticus 23 and frame stuff around tabernacles every year. You know what I'm saying? In my opinion, that's corny. If other people choose to do so, that's their prerogative. That's just my opinion. For me, anyway. You know what I'm talking about? We can work it in, but nevertheless, if you want a tabernacle from heaven, remember, what did he say that Yahushua was? The temple that was made without what? Hands. So you looking, see, everybody gets stuck on when tabernacles coming. I got to get me a tent. I got to make me a booth instead of being concerned with you need a tent or a booth that's not made with hands. See, you worrying about the wrong thing. So you got you a booth and a nigga at Coleman put it together at the factory. But you need to be worried about a booth that come from heaven. Ain't nobody put their hands on that. You know how that booth was made? Yahuwah just spoke the word and that was it. Praise the Lamb. That's all he had to do. See, that's the booth you want. You understand? So let's look at this Jeremiah 9 and 7. From Jeremiah 9 and 7, I mentioned some other stuff. It's Matthew chapter 3. And you can grab your 2 Corinthians 5 if my memory serves me correctly. Malik is absconded. That boy moving and grooving. Yes, sir. Make it 9 and 6. Matter of fact, 9 and 3. Because this is the reason why Yahushua had to be afflicted. Because we need to look at that. You know why your forefathers had to walk around and make booths in the wilderness? Because they were sinning. They weren't supposed to be in the wilderness to make no tabernacles. They were supposed to go from Egypt to the land straight there. They were supposed to go straight there. It should have took them no more than a couple days. Instead, they were there 40 years. They were there 40 years. He said, y'all going to make tabernacles here 40 years. Have you a temporary dwelling place because you don't listen. No, that's black people's biggest problem. You don't listen. You know what I'm saying? How many times did this man tell you to hearken, 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 but you don't listen. You don't pay attention. Matter of fact, 9 and 1, because that's the chapter I was referring to when he said he was looking for some wayfaring men. So we just go ahead. Look at Yahuwah. Praise Yahuwah. He said, oh, that my head were waters and my eyes a fountain of tears, that I may weep day and night for the slain of the daughter of my people. Oh, that I had in the wilderness a lodging place of wayfaring men, that I might leave my people and go from them. For they be all adulterers, an assembly of treacherous men. Now, ain't that something that you got a prophet saying, I would rather, you know what a wayfaring man is, right? Anyone here don't know what a wayfaring man is? I'll take that silence as you do know what one is. Everybody on here know what a wayfaring man is? Huh? You don't? A wayfaring man is a traveling man, not a mason. But basically a man who a nomad, if you will, a wanderer. We'll get the Hebrew definition for it right now for you. The word is a rock. And it's somebody wandered a journey to keep company with or traveler. Now that word is Aleph, Rosh, and Cot. So what would you get for that for a wayfaring man? Aleph, Rosh, and Cot. And if you look at the context of the verse, this should be simple to come up with. Aleph, Rosh, and Cot. And this is still dealing with how the root of the righteous yield fruit. Mm-hmm. Not even as this, look at the thoughts. The simple fact of if you got olive, what you got, the ox or the head, or the highest head separates. Because who did the highest set to be the head? He said Yahusha to be the head. He's the one who separates you. Because what did he say? Sanctify him with your might or your truth. He said it because your word is truth. And he sanctified himself by the truth that they might sanctify themselves. So the highest sent the Son to be your sanctification, which would make you what? A wayfaring man or a traveler or a wandering man. Word. And what did he tell you in Hebrews 13? To go outside the camp. What did Yahusha was telling you to be a wayfaring man? Because what did he tell you to do? Follow him. Be a traveler and follow me. When you found John, where you found John at? In the wilderness, away from all those treacherous people. All these adulterers, he was separated from them. Because I don't have any desire to be with you. Because I don't take pleasure in what you got going on. See, when we look at most brews now, they take pleasure in wickedness. And they turn their head on what these dudes got going on. That stuff ain't cool. Because all they worrying about the white man. I'm not concerned with the white man. He's the least of my concern. Because that me talking about him ain't saving nobody's soul. I already know he wicked. Why don't I spend time talking about somebody I already know unjust? He don't know Yahuwah. But you supposed to know Yahuwah. Does that even make sense that you spend more time talking about a sinner than you do the man who came to redeem you from sin? How does that make sense? Somebody let me know how that makes sense. Because it don't make sense to me. He said they bend their tongues like their bow for lies. They are not valiant for the truth upon the earth. They proceed from evil to evil, and they know not me, saith Yahuwah. Now let's look at valiant. I just want to see what it is. He said they're not valiant for the truth. Now, truth here is amuna. The word is gabar, and it's that to be strong, to be powerful, to strengthen, to confirm, or to show oneself mighty. So they're not mighty for the truth. They don't stand. They're not mighty for the faith. They don't stand in the power of the faith. He said, take you heed every one his neighbor and trust you not of the brother. For every brother will utterly supplant and every neighbor will walk with slanders. That's Judas. And they will deceive every one his neighbor and will not speak the truth. They've taught their tongue to speak lies and weird themselves to commit iniquity. That is the scribes. Because what did the scribes set to go do against Yahushua? Get false witnesses to speak against him. Their habitation is in the midst of deceit, and through deceit they refuse to know me, saith Yahuwah. See, that's what we got going on right now. So you can't know Yahuwah and deal with lies because Yahuwah is not a liar. Stop playing with that, though, and sit down somewhere. Therefore, thus saith Yahuwah of hosts, behold, I will melt them and try them, for how shall I do for the daughter of my people? So for the sins of the people, guess what he said he'll do? He will melt them, and that's the word saraf again. I'm going to test them and I'm going to prove them. And what did he do for Yahushua? What will he do for any of us? Matthew chapter 3. He going to melt you and he going to try you. This is in order so that you might yield fruit. 3 and 11. This is the part of the word that people don't like. Because anybody who's going to receive salvation, you will be afflicted. He going to try your reins, or your kidneys, or your inward parts to see what's in it. Because that's why I say adversity is the show forth of character, because that's when you get to see what's in somebody's heart. What's the common thing that most black folks say? Rich people, when they lose all their money, what they do? They kill themselves because they can't handle the poverty. Most black people can have a lot of money and lose it and go on about their business because they were accustomed to it. Now, all white people don't do that. You know what I'm saying? It's a stereotype. But you know, the point is, of the matter is you don't know how strong someone is in times of calm and success and increase. Strength is not made manifest in those times. Strength is made manifest in adversity. And we definitely not talking about adversity that is self-created. You know what I'm saying? We ain't talking about adversity that's self-created. Because self-created adversity just shows your lack of emotional and mental intelligence. It means you made bad choices and you had wrong decisions and you created that situation or circumstance. So therefore you should be able to endure it, and you should endure it with your mouth closed. Because you created that. So no one is going to feel sorry for you. And that's in 1 Peter chapter 2, if you're unfamiliar. Because he said if you suffer for doing wrong, then he said, you know what? What esteem you have in that? If you buffeted for your faults, is what it actually says. What esteem do you have in that? He said, but if you ain't did nothing wrong and you suffered and you endure, then that's accepted with Elohim. So if you have the ability to endure adversity that is not based off your own stupidity, then Yahuwah will accept it. But if it's adversity based off your own stupidity, then you're just gonna have to ride that out. Some of y'all used to feel that way when your parents whooped your behind. You wanted somebody to feel sorry for you, but you did it to yourself though. Some of y'all probably called your grandma, she beat me. That's what you used to do? You cheese and call your grandma, why you beat that baby? Because she was out here climbing out the window talking disrespectful. Well, she ain't tell me all that. You still should have beat that baby. I'm going to beat her again. See, that's what my grandma used to say. Don't you beat that baby. Well, that baby been in error. He needs to be whooped. For real though. That's what a lot of black people need. You need to be whooped because you're hard-headed and you're stubborn. You don't listen. Don't you know, like this? And I ain't talking about necessarily being whooped as being physically chastised, but you need to be corrected. You need to know that there's consequences for bad choices. When you try to protect the child for the consequences of their choices, they grow up to be entitled that they should be rewarded when they make mistakes. And that it is okay for them to do as they please. And it's not okay. That's not teaching them properly. Just like this here, right? And I used to tell people this when we was preaching in the street, right? How many of y'all will reward your children for bad behavior? How many of you have rewarded your children for bad behavior? You know why most people reward their kids for bad behavior? Because you're frustrated and you don't want to deal with them. You want them to get out your face. But Yahuwah doesn't operate in that fashion. He will not reward you for negative behavior. Because the minute you reward a child for negative behavior, you have just reinforced in their mind that I can still get what I want, irregardless of my conduct. So anytime you try to chastise them for incorrect conduct and you wonder why they don't take it seriously, it's because you have rewarded it and reinforced it that it's acceptable to behave that way. You never reward a child for negative behavior, ever. Not once, not a single solitary time. I don't care how much that nigga getting on your nerves. You got to hold fast to what you say. He has to know there's a consequence for it. You know, there's plenty of time. Go outside on time. You can't do that. If you did something, I say, nigga, you're going to sit here for 45 minutes, then you're going to sit here for 45 minutes, not 22, not 15, not 44 and 3/4. You're going to sit here for 45 minutes because you're going to know I'm not playing with you. When David did what he did Yahuwah reward his negative behavior? Absolutely not. He said, I'm going to kill that baby. He said, the sword always going to be in your house. I'm going to take your wives and I'm going to give them to somebody else because I'm not rewarding you for that. You will know that there's consequences. That's why he said he by no means clears the guilty. I'm not clearing you for what you've done. That lets you know that if you do something, there is consequences for it, and those consequences will be enforced. And you have to do it every time. And to be able to do that, you have to have the patience and the consistency to do that. And guess what will happen if you do that? That child will respect you and honor you, or they can get out your house. It's simple as that. And that's how Yahuwah feel. You're going to respect and honor me, or you're going to get out my house. Because I'm going to bust you upside your head every time you go against me. Because I'm not nobody to be played with. And just like he said in Ecclesiastes, because the sentence is not executed quickly, people think that I'm free to do it because they ain't came. See, that's how some of y'all felt. Your mama knew them people. You knew your mama that them people from that school called the house. But see, your mama let you come in the house and play the video game. You know what I'm saying? And do this, that, there, and the third. And you thought you were straight because the sentence ain't came. But then your daddy came home. And she knew he was finna come home, so she told you to go ahead and get in the bathtub. And you in there playing in the bathtub, and Popson came through the door with that strap and whooped you on your way out the bathtub. And now the sentence is coming. That's how Yahuwah do it. He let you think it's all good. You like this here. Another day done went past. I got what I want. Everything is lovely. And then boom, boom, boom. And you like this here. Why you whoop me? You supposed to whoop me when I did it. I whoop you when I get ready. That's how children think in their mind. If I did it on Tuesday, you supposed to whoop me on Tuesday. I whoop you at my prerogative. If I want to wait 4 weeks from now to come in here and kick your door in and knock you clean out, that's my business. But you straight up though, right? If I treat you like this here, guess what? What the feds do? Build up a case. So when I come and crash your head, that's what it is. Man, I remember one time I came in the house, my granddaddy whooped me. I said, what did I do? He said, it's for something you finna do. He said, I'm going to get out of here and get me some points ahead in the game. That's here. I'll never forget that. He said, that's for something you finna do. I said, this is just not right. How about Sam, mate? You know what I'm saying? He said, you finna do something. I'm going to go ahead and get it out of the way. But I can say with my mama, my auntie, and my granddaddy, they ain't let nothing slide. They reinforce consequences every single solitary time. They didn't let nothing slide. Ever. Before the school year, they ain't play no game. I know you finna go in here and wild. Come on around here. That way I ain't got to do nothing for the first 2 semesters. But for real though, that's Yahuwah doesn't parent that way. The world teach you to parent that way, but Yahuwah don't parent that way. Yahuwah does not reward negative behavior. He doesn't do it. He doesn't do it. Why? When you think about it, is that a wise thing to do? Your son just told you, I hate you, Mom. And you say, it's okay, son. Here's a new toy. You know what you're supposed to do? Jack him up and take him to his daddy. That's your son. Deal with it. Deal with it. What he did, like I said, if your son disrespect your wife, you supposed to knock that nigga into 3 weeks from now, and then go grab him from 3 weeks from now and slap him back to 6 months behind. Then bring him back to the present and beat him 15 minutes later. Because that's what you're not finna do. You're not finna disrespect my wife in this house. That's your mother, boy. That's why I be telling them churn, because that's how I was raised. Send them churn on. Them churn ain't got no business being in adults' faces while they have no conversation. That's why they make they think they can operate and act like adults. Go around there with them churn. It's not your place. You ain't got no business in here. Ain't nothing over here tend to mean anything to you. But all that's doing is teaching that child to stay in his lane. You know what I'm saying? There's grown people in here. What you in here for? That ain't no different when David say, I don't exercise myself in matters that is too high for me. This ain't got nothing to do with you. That's Elohim business. It ain't your business. Matthew chapter 3, verse 11. He said, I indeed immerse you with water unto repentance, but he that come after me is mightier than I, whose shoes I'm not worthy to bear. He shall immerse you with the Ruach HaKodesh and with fire. He gonna try you. So when Yahushua immersed you, he's gonna immerse you to test you, to see what's in your heart, to prove you out. How many of y'all took time to prove your spouse out before you married him? I'm talking about genuine time. More specifically the men, because most women ain't even thinking in that fashion. They're like, I like him. He makes me feel good on the inside. He buys me food. Yeah, you'll be surprised though. You'll be surprised. You know what I'm saying? You'll be surprised. You'll be surprised. But you have to prove people out and test them out. You know, in the book of Ecclesiasticus, in that Apocrypha, which we don't really read out too much, it tell you, he say, before you call somebody a friend, you need to prove them first. Before you call somebody a wife or a husband, you need to prove them too. I've been telling you this. You know, getting married is a major life decision. Niggas put more thought and energy in buying a car and a refrigerator than they do who they gonna marry. Like I said, niggas put more thought in buying some shoes. Shoot, buying a computer. I don't know now. Take them a good long time to decide what computer they want to buy. Nigga like, I love it. How long you know them? 3 weeks? We gonna get married next month. Niggas be doing it too, out here simping because you don't want to be alone. He tired of masturbating. You know what I'm saying? He wants somebody to be with him and cook his food and wash his drawers. He ain't took time to realize this woman crazy. You know what I'm talking about? Like I telling you the other day, you already know niggas crazy. You already know what niggas' flaws and faults is. You choose not to look at it. Somebody, look, one thing I told, man, people been who they been from the jump street. If they was doing it in year 1, they probably gonna do it in year 10. You know what I'm talking about? They ain't gonna change unless they choose to change, and you'll see the manifestation of change because the behavior will change. If you see the same behavior in year 3, then don't expect the behavior to change if you don't see forth the effort to change it. They're gonna do the same thing they've been doing. So don't get shocked when you keep getting what you always been getting. You know what I'm saying? But now you know why? Because you ain't taking time, because you were thinking with your genitals, or you were thinking with the emotions that flow through your body. So you didn't take the time, and then you complaining. But guess what? Nobody cares. Nobody cares because you knew that you made an informed decision because you decided to disregard the data that was in your face. And that's how we do with these people in America, with these Caucasians. They done showed you plenty of times they don't care nothing about you in a general sense, as far as the system is concerned. They don't care nothing about you. But yet you want them to care about you, even though they're showing you consistently that they don't. And every aspect of the system that they have crafted and designed is not for your benefit. 2 Corinthians chapter 5. And it's not supposed to be for your benefit. 2 Corinthians 5. You know why this place is not supposed to be your benefit, for your benefit? Alicia, why is America not supposed to be for your benefit? Do you know why? Because it's not your home? An unacceptable, acceptable answer. Because that's not the answer we're looking for. Monte, you know why you ain't supposed to receive any benefits from America? I'm talking about according to the word, more specifically. Like as far as receiving justice or large amounts of, not to say that you can't have quote unquote financial success in this place, but I'm really talking about our people as a whole and not individual, because you do have financially successful people amongst our people in this place who are in the word. Not all, and again, that's an unacceptable answer, because I'm looking for something more specific. The curses, acceptable but unacceptable at the same time. It is a reward from y'all because it's your punishment. That's how the curse is acceptable, but it's your punishment. Why would I reward? If I tell you to go to your room and cut the TV off and don't play your video game, then why would I turn around and say you could play the video game and watch TV, but you got to stay in your room? Then that doesn't enforce the fact that you're being punished. You're being punished. So that's why things as a whole don't go for us in the way that we want them to go, because it's punishment. And that's why a lot of our people say F the Bible and what it teaches. Because the average disobedient, petulant child doesn't like to be punished for their disobedience. So then they end up beginning to resent the parent for chastising them for their disobedience, because they don't really have a desire to obey, because they don't respect the parent's authority. See, the average person doesn't respect, especially of our people specifically, they don't respect Yahuwah's authority. How many of y'all knew children that didn't respect their parents when you were children? Can you recall how you looked at them for their utter disrespect of the authority of their parent? How did you view those children? I don't know too many who did, because most of the people I grew up, their parents bust heads. Did any of y'all grow up with people who disrespected their parents' authority? And how did you view them at that time? I'm talking about at that time. You put a gun out on them, mom. That nigga's wild. What about you? Anybody else? Did you have anybody you grew up with disrespected? And how did you feel about them when you were younger when they did that? You know what I'm saying? You look at them and like, did you ever sit back and wonder, why are they my friend? Why do I hang with you? You know what I'm saying? And when you look at most of our people, whether they in the word or not, when they have that level of disdain for Yahuwah's authority, does it run across your mind? Why am I friends with you? Why would I fellowship with you? Because you hate authority. See, we're not talking about no curses on individuals, because the curses don't necessarily apply to an individual if you're obedient. But these curses do apply to our people as a whole. And this place is a place of punishment. You know what I'm saying? You're not supposed to have fun when you're on punishment. How many of y'all were on punishment and you had fun? Then that, my lad, is not a punishment. When you see niggas come back from prison, I had fun up the road. Something wrong with you. How you have fun in prison? You know what I'm saying? But some people enjoy punishment. And how do we see people enjoy punishment? Because you got people, guess what? Well, it's Thursday night, but it's some club that's filled up right now with people getting drunk, preparing to whore. Somebody's in the trap house right now getting high. You know what I'm saying? Because in this place, this is your punishment, but they give you all the fun you can have. You got an Xbox, you want an Xbox, you can play the Xbox while you're on punishment. You can play your PlayStation 4. What is your Xbox? It's marijuana, it's cocaine, it's crack. You know, it's porn. Word, you know what I'm saying? So you have to look at it in that fashion, because this is punishment. But in the midst of punishment, you have multiple pleasures. And then because you have these pleasures and you realize this is a place of punishment, that's how the hate. Remember, that's what he said of a reprobate mind. They hate Elohim. So then you begin to hate him because he punished you. But his correction is so you don't be a bastard, but you'll be a what? A son. So you can yield the peaceable fruit of righteousness to all those who are exercised by his chastisement, which is his affliction, which is the test to try you to see if you're an obedient son or not. How else you gonna know if your son gonna obey you? You got to test him, don't you? You got to give him some parameters and see if he go past the boundary. You know what I'm saying? Especially those of you got sons. He want to get you supposed to slap the dog piss. You're supposed to set him a parameter, and if he go past that parameter, you as a father supposed to come across his head. Wow, son, that's not what we do. That's not what we do. And I don't necessarily mean like literally slap him, but he has to be corrected. Son, that's not what we do. Because you can slap the dog piss out of him, not lay one hand on him. But sometimes you got to strike him, because he need to know that I put the belt on your behind. Because what does the book say, The rod of correction, or deliver your son from death. You know what I'm saying? That correction that he put on Yahushua delivered him from death because he lived forever. So you correct the behavior so they don't fall into sin and perish. See how you look and say, I'm glad you're listening. See, that's why I be telling you, because you're rebellious. You like to do what you want. That's why you get in trouble all the time. But you look like you're listening right now. And it's permeating in your soul, and it makes me happy. Are you listening? I'm glad you're listening. Are you listening? You a little stubborn too, but you like to give explanations. I know what you think. Lil Mike said he stopped lying, so maybe you be getting a little better. Don't look at me crazy. Oh, and just that fast, you got popped upside the head. Mordecai said, let me go ahead and flip, because you won't get me. 2 Corinthians 5:1. I can't see the rest of them. Malik sleep. Malik probably don't care about nothing other than milk. That's all he cared about. Ain't it? Little milk. Little milk. Malik don't look like he gonna be no trouble. He look like he just gonna be where's my food at? Feed me and I'll be good. He said, for we know that this our earthly house of this tabernacle were dissolved. We have a building of Elohim, a house not made with hands, eternal in Shamahim. For in this we groan, earnestly desiring to be clothed upon with a house which is from Shamahim. So if so be that being clothed, we shall not be found naked. Why is that important? He said that if we're clothed, we won't be found naked. Why is that important? Indeed, because what was Adam found to be? Naked. And why was he found naked? Because of his sin. What does Yahushua tell you in Revelation 16? Make sure you have your garments that you don't be what? Be found naked. Because without that building, so like he said, right? He said that we be even say, so that we're being, if you covered in a ruach, then your sins is covered. You're not found naked. You're not exposed. And all of that is gone because of the root of the righteous yield fruit. Look at that word for yield, what I mentioned before. The word for yield is nathan, and it's to yield, to produce, or to publish. And you have noon, tau, and noon. So what would you get for that noon, tau, and noon? Seed of the covenant of what? Indeed. Or I put the seed. Who is the seed? Yahushua's covenant is life, because he say it's not seeds of many, but seeds of one. That seed being a Mashal. So he yields and produces the fruit because he is that root. Because what did he say? I'm the vine, and my father is the husbandman. And he say, and I'm the vine, and you're the what? The branches. The branches yield off from the tree, which comes from the root, which is in the ground or in the lower stratum or in the grave. Because he was in the grave and ascended above all, then he's able to manifest and produce fruit. Because the fruit of the righteous is a tree of life. The fruit that he produces is everlasting life. And because he was grave, he yielded this fruit. And he yielded this fruit so you could have a tabernacle that's from heaven, that even if your body was dissolved and you went back to the dust from which you came, you still had a building made not without hands. Because see, guess what? All of y'all buildings were made with hands. Because you were made by a man. Because someone had to procreate, participate in quarters for you to get here. But to become a son of Elohim, no one can make you that but Elohim. The next verse. He said, for we that are in this tabernacle do groan, being burdened, not for that we would be unclothed, but clothed upon, that mortality might be swallowed up of life. Now, he told you in the book of Isaiah that death is swallowed up in victory. So you're looking not to be found unclothed or dead, but to have that mortality of this flesh swallowed up by life. All because the righteous, the root of the righteous yields fruit. In order to yield this fruit, you have to die. The fruit of the righteous is a tree of life, and that's the word, because the word is a tree of life. You cannot, let's end this in Revelation chapter 2, because we got many a day to come. Because we got Friday again, y'all willing tomorrow, and that's another 2-hour foray. But right now, we're going to get ready to shut this one on down. Revelation chapter 2. I've done what I can do for the day. Revelation 2:7. He said, he that have an ear, let him hear what the Ruach say unto the houses. To him that overcome will I give to eat of the tree of life, which is in the midst of the paradise of Elohim. How would you be able to overcome? By hearkening to the word. How did Yahushua overcome? He said, who is he that overcome the world? But he that believe that Yahushua is the son of Elohim. And he that believe on me, as the scripture has said, out of his belly shall flow rivers of living water. So if you believe on him as the scripture have said, then you would overcome, because you overcome it by the son, because the son has overcome the world. So because you heard the word and held to the word, then you have yielded fruit because of the root, because you decided to go into the grave and to come up in newness of life. And you did that because of your faith. Because you can only, the tree of life was of faith. They could have ate of that and lived forever. But you know why they didn't eat? You know why they didn't eat of that tree? Because it didn't look desirable. Notice that it said in the law that the tree of knowledge of good and evil looked desirable to eat, didn't it? You know, everlasting life don't look desirable. It's not pleasant to the eyes. It's not exciting. And that goes back to what I mentioned before, like the average person, they're not going to choose that consistent person that loves them and treats them and honors them. They want the confusion. Because that looks fun and it looks like something nice that I want to play with. But nevertheless, hallelujah for Yahushua and the word. You who are willing, pick it up tomorrow. Appreciate everybody's time. And bless everybody at the house of Yahuwah in the name of Yahushua. Hello. So you are willing, we pick it up tomorrow at 9 o'clock p.m. Hello. And yeah, we'll keep on going. Day 1. Got a few, hallelujah indeed. Got a few more days to go. Of course, we'll still be continuing down this road. Got a couple more verses in Proverbs to use. Proverbs 12 anyway to integrate in. I know we haven't used every verse in Proverbs 11, but we went over pretty much most of them. So again, you know, the yielding of the fruit that the righteous do is because Yahushua died and rose from the dead. But of course, we started that first part to see how many more people delight in the strongholds of the wicked than they do in the freedom of the righteous. You know what I'm saying? There's freedom in Yahushua, but many people don't delight in that. Because again, it doesn't look pleasurable. It looks boring. It's not something anybody wants to take hold to. You know, but the book describes Kadash as being beautiful. The beauty of Kadash, and it is. To be set apart is a beautiful thing, but you'll be set apart by your faith in Yahushua HaMashiach. Because remember, the parade, Pei, Rosh, and Yod. And that's Yahushua is the word of Elohim, and that is the fruit. And what is ought to be produced is him in you. So nevertheless, you who are willing, we pick it up on Shabbat, 9 o'clock p.m. Yeah, do it like that. So it gets dark a little earlier, so we probably been at 8. If you have the food prepared before 9 o'clock p.m. and get it, we can eat before then. No, because I'm going to start at the regular time for Friday. I'm not going to start at 8. I'm going to start at 9. So
I'm trying to think what we're supposed to make tomorrow, but
if you do that, we can eat before. And then, of course, Saturday afternoon, so on and so forth. So, again, blessings out everybody at the house of y'all, named Yahushua. I appreciate your time. Love y'all. Stand firm and strong in the word. And, you know, take your root with Yahushua the righteous so you can yield fruit of everlasting life and dwell with him always. And y'all willing till the next time. I would advise none of you to look at that clip of Will Smith before you eat. If you had a desire to look at it, yeah, eat your food first.